It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin, Nielson, and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
All right, welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you. As always, The Oil Stream brought to you in part by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, our partners at CoolBet, and, of course, Boston Pizza as well. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. That's 780-218-9999. And if you're in the YouTube chat right now, you can pop by and ask us a question. Tommy, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Hi, I'm good. I'm just talking with Lieutenant Eric. Get that mic volume nice and
get that.
thank you.
Get that turned down a bit for you.
Yeah,
there,
no,
eh?
it's all good. What's going on? Are you guys deaf or what?
Well,
so
that would have
loud.
been Eric. That's where Eric was sitting.
Yours
so maybe
is even worse.
Well, mine is worse.
I
Yeah,
know.
I have these things absolutely cranked.
I'm just getting the nasty chat and the text line up and running. Got back from the rink. Neat and tidy day at the rink because the team's traveling for that Winnipeg game. We've got an Edmonton Sports Talk rink report coming. Derek Van Diest.
Oh, beauty.
That's the beauty of
awesome.
the rink report is like I can do a minute and a half on whatever or 2 minutes, or I can get someone that's there and we can break down a game like last night's game, or we can tee up tonight's game. And it's just whatever we want to do. No business daddy telling us
it's perfect.
Yes or no.
It's great. We absolutely love that. All right, so we'll have that posted as soon as Oil Stream wraps today. You can text us anytime, like we said, 780-218-9999, or you can hit us up in the YouTube chat as well. Trevor says the autoplay worked. That's great news.
Yay.
It's great news that the autoplay worked today. Tell your friends about the Oil Stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 6. I'm getting my shows confused. This is what happens around all the time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 12 until 1. Two Guys and a Goalie Tuesday, Thursday from 12 until 1 as well. And I see your question. A big fan 2019. We will certainly go there. Tommy, anything from the rink today? It was looked like they're sending an okayish group out to Winnipeg.
That's very complimentary of you. Okayish, yes. AHL rookie heavy group going to Winnipeg, and I don't think we're going to see a 10-0 loss like we did yesterday between the the Canucks and the Flames.
That was a nasty one.
That was really bad. But I think this group, I had a great chat with Brad Malone, by the way, and I hope to get that into our audio feed for later in the day if Wannick allows it.
Yeah.
And he's like, we know that this roster that's going over there is not the strongest, but he reminded people that they won one of these in Winnipeg not that long ago. It's the start of the preseason. They have 8 preseason games, and we saw the lineup that Winnipeg had yesterday, and you're like, ugh.
Well, this is still a big game for these guys, right? For the guys who are playing in this one, this is a big game for some of these guys, trying to prove that hey, maybe they deserve a little bit of another look. The only veterans that you're going to see in this group, Kulak, Ceci, Desharnais. Basically, you got the full group in front of you there, Tommy.
Yeah. So Malone is centering. Okay, and just quickly, preface it with, I don't know which line's the first line, second line. These are the lines that we're skating together today.
They're going to roll them anyway.
Be as subjective as you want about it. So Malone with Ernie and Lavoie, McKegg between Holloway and Griffith, Grube between Stonehouse and Bourgault, and then Berglund with Petrov and Tullio. Petrov on the left side from what was going on in line rushes at practice today. On defense, Kulak with Ceci, Hoffenmeyer with Desharnais, Deneen with Warner, and then Calvin Pickard is your starter, Rodrigue the backup, who went the distance yesterday.
So Pickard will get the game tonight, I would think. All right, Holloway. He's playing again tonight.
Yeah.
Played last night. What did you think of him yesterday?
I thought he was really good. I thought he was one of the better players on the team. Just overall, he had that huge hit on
big-time hit.
Chibrikov. And I was like, ooh. And that was at the end of his shift, too. And then his puck touches were strong. I know he probably would have wanted to get some offense going, but I thought overall he had just a solid game and a good introduction to the preseason for Dylan Holloway. And the fact he's playing today, I wouldn't worry about it too much. He's one of the younger guys still, and I don't think they're sending him a message or anything like that, but they just need to fill the roster with some talent, and he's one of those guys that's good to go for tonight, and so we'll see him back in action. But I thought that was a good start to the preseason. At some point, he's going to have to score a goal or two just to reassure everyone everything's A-okay, but otherwise, a good night for him.
Yeah, but if he doesn't score a goal in the preseason, he's not making the team, right?
That's true. I mean, he would have
look
to
what he
play
did
his way
last year
off
in the preseason.
Yeah,
right?
no, and that's a good point. I think, if he would have to play his way off of this roster, and by doing that, he would have to be so terrible, which he clearly hasn't been to the
third star last night.
Yeah, exactly. So a good start. Let's see what he does, and I don't think he needs to shoot out the lights in terms of putting up numbers in the preseason, but to see some would be good. I think it'd be ideal.
What about Xavier Bourgault getting another great game here?
Well, that's good, and you want to see him try to build off of what yesterday he was okay. I didn't think, particular. Although his line was buzzing with Caggiula and was it Hamblin, Bourgault, Caggiula? That was the trio last night. I actually thought that they, in the second period, got some momentum going. I thought they buzzed. I thought Caggiula was kind of a spark plug, which is good. For Bourgault, just more of the same. Continue on. And talking to Brad Malone today in that interview that hopefully we roll in on our audio stream later, he actually said, Bourgault had some tough conversations that occurred last year and some enlightening moments, if you will, and he needs to continue to build and find a way to be a good pro on and off the ice, and that's what he expects from him. So with Bourgault, take this opportunity. Maybe he's tired, I don't know, but he's a young guy as well, just like Holloway, and there's expectation that comes with being a first-round pick, and he just needs to go out there and tilt the ice and hopefully get some offense going as well against a lineup that from the Jets that should be much stronger than what the Oilers are icing tonight.
All right, let's get into the YouTube chat. Hit us up on the chat, or you can text us if you're listening to the live stream right now. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Lots of comments rolling in here to the live stream. Big Fan 2019 says lots of fans are upset that the games are not televised. They've got a couple of televised preseason games, right?
They do, and tonight it's Oilers Plus is streaming it.
Will the Jets just be streaming it, though, too?
Apparently, it's on Jets Regional, which we don't get.
Oh, it's on Jets Regional with TSN?
That gets blacked out for us here in Edmonton, which sucks. But
Jets streamed it yesterday, though.
Yeah. Usually, you can find a stream.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
If you want to look hard enough, you can find a stream. Yeah.
And listen, don't click any of the pop-ups. X out of those if you.
It's on Oilers Plus, and if you use, there's a code that you can put in that you'll get a free month.
That's right. If you want to sample,
take it for a trial run.
Yeah, good point.
So if you want to watch a game, you can watch the game.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Kevin is asking, when will we see close to the starting night roster by Game 6? Would you say?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
I'd say probably 6.
Yeah, this Wednesday game against the Canucks, I think we're going to start to see some of the big guys play. That's the sense I get.
We're gonna have a pregame show for that one. I think that's.
I have to talk to Awana.
I think that one was marked down in the meeting last week. We had 2 that were going to be pregame.
I think so. Yeah.
This one's the one on the 27th is televised, isn't it?
It is, and and that's funny because this week has been bananas already, and it's only Monday. I have to go get my studio set up at my place, my new place. I've been. You think I'm tardy?
Buddy,
when
all
I show
you need
up
is
here?
all you need is a camera.
No, but I want it to look nice.
Yeah, but it's preseason.
I want it to look nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will eventually look nice. As long as your face is on it, it's going to look great, Tommy.
I pay you to say that, and I appreciate it very much. It still feels good.
So, but you're thinking probably Game 6 is when
I think so. Yeah, 5 or 6, and that's when they start to roll like more of the roster that'll start the year. And again, I don't really think we're going to see a ton of surprises. Lavoie gets his first look tonight.
How has he looked in what you've seen so far in drills?
Fine. Yeah, it's hard to give like a real.
Well, that's what it is. It's drills, right?
It's system work. Like, how do you judge a guy in his system? Oh boy, his positioning on that was immaculate. It's a lot of systems, D to D, regroups. How are we going to attack in the offensive zone? How are we going to handle neutral zone transitions? How are we going to move the puck through the neutral zone? That's kind of and defend through the neutral zone. That's kind of what we've seen in the first few days of on ice. And I know they had the scrimmage on Saturday. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but I think he's looked fine. Today will be the test. Today is where things start to get very real for Raphael Lavoie.
Bram asks on YouTube, could you see the Oilers poaching someone on a PTO with another organization to fill that fourth line role, i.e. Gregor with the Leafs or someone of that ilk?
My inclination is no. It would have to be somebody that has an outstanding preseason and somehow gets cut. Or decides that they want to walk from their PTO if the Oilers give them an offer. But I would think probably not. But that's a good opportunity. If you've got your scouts watching what's going on and you have a line on a guy like we saw, again, Chris Versteeg, when he wound up in Calgary after having a great preseason with the Oilers. I suppose, that's a good strategy, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. What does that tell your guys that you're developing too?
Yeah.
And what does that tell your guys that you have here on PTOs? I think if Brandon Sutter's hands start to come back, I think he would have a good chance. And then you've got Adam Ernie tonight that wants to show that he still belongs. So it's kind of interesting. Like it feels like they've kind of picked their guys that they want to give a shot.
They've already gone and got that done. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they probably would have floated a PTO to some of those other guys.
Who looked better yesterday, Peterson or Sutter? Because it's not hard to see a world where they're just fighting for the same job.
Yeah,
and that's what it comes down to, right?
That's fair. I think the inclination is to look at Sutter and be like, that's the guy. And the Oilers have said that. Like, if they could get Brandon Sutter from 3-4 years ago, amazing. But is he still that guy? And again, his puck touches weren't great. Peterson should have scored on that feed.
Had that one really nice look there, yeah.
And then it led to a really bad sequence. So he gets stoned. Great save by Delia. Obviously, you got to give kudos where kudos is due. But then Kane takes that stupid tripping penalty. That was a bad penalty. It just, all he had to do was elevate the puck. And I was like, ugh. Like, for him, that would have been a nice tick beside his name if he buried that. And I think he got too cute with it. I know it was a bang-bang play, but that was a perfect feed from Nugent Hopkins. So I think Peterson probably is closer to NHL game ready today compared to Brandon Sutter, but I think Brandon Sutter's high-end potential is better than Peterson.
Well, that's interesting then, because then you're going to have to make a decision and hope that Sutter can kind of ramp things back up, right?
He will play a bunch of games.
Yeah.
So will Peterson, but I think if we
I'm just thinking, like, when it comes to decision time.
Absolutely. If we see steady improvement from Sutter, I think he nudges out Peterson. I don't know if he gets that contract. Maybe he gets a two-way. I don't know. But to me, he would be, again, the ideal fit if he shows he can get better on the puck. I think, and you guys were talking about it earlier on the Nielson show and during the mandate where they threw Sutter out there for a defensive zone face-off and he lost it. And, if he won that one, I think would have been a tick beside his name, but it hasn't happened. He's got to get that timing back. But listening, working the room post-game and all of that, which, because we didn't do pre-post yesterday, you could see, like, legitimate joy on his face and relief, and he was really good in his post-game presser. Brandon Sutter was.
All right, let's get to a couple of your questions. 7-8. This is why it's so great having the text line and the chat. You guys can basically just dictate the show and where it goes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 until 1. So make sure you tell your friends who are Oilers fans that we're here for them. EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Click listen live or watch live. Eden is in and says, were you guys surprised that Akey was sent back to junior so quick given his performance last night?
No. And listen, I think they were happy with what he did, and we talked about that with Jay Woodcroft post-game yesterday, and he saw an opportunity to put him in, and Akey didn't shy away from anything. And let's not kid ourselves; he's not here to make this team. He had zero chance.
Yeah,
right? Like
not
zero chance
at all whatsoever.
I think what he did show in the Young Stars Classic, he was very rambunctious. I watched the game where he had 3 penalties, a couple of them in the offensive zone, one behind the goal line. I'm like, what are you doing back there? Aren't you a defenseman? Anyway, yesterday, he looked confident with the puck. He had a couple of rushes where I think he circled back and took it through the neutral zone, and then another one, he just kind of dumped it in. I would have liked to have seen him control the puck, let his guys change, and then maintain possession. But that's, I think, something that comes with experience, and as he continues to age and understand possession is huge. Obviously, I'm sure he does, but you're in a different environment. You're playing against actual NHL players. I thought he did good, and the fact he got that late overtime shift, I think, is a good indicator and an arrow up from Jay Woodcroft. But no, the fact that he got sent down, kind of got that feeling yesterday listening to Jay that his time was up here with the club, and let him go and have a great season and continue to find his rhythm.
Literally could not have done anything better.
No.
Right? Like, mission accomplished, kid.
Yeah.
Go back.
Good camp.
Continue to become one of the better defensemen in junior hockey. Come back next year. Do it again.
Yep.
Probably repeat the process.
Probably
maybe get a
gets more
couple of games.
Yep.
And then gets to roll back again, right?
Absolutely.
So I think you're sending a kid back feeling really good about his game right now.
Yes.
Which is probably the way you want to do it with some of these players, or with a lot of these younger guys, right? So I don't think we need to be surprised by that. Either do you. Let's quickly hit on this for Cool Bet. We had this line put up, I think, on the Lock Shop. It's there right now. If you go to NHL Season Bets and click on Specials, Cool Bet, a big part of the Oil Stream. Hit us up. Edmonton Oilers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Stanley Cup Final, exact matchup, plus 2,700. When this was posted last week, it opened at plus 4,000. So it is moved from 40 to 1 to 27 to 1, which means some money is coming in on it. So gotta love it. Oilers, Leafs, exact matchup for the Stanley Cup Final, 27 to 1. You can find that over with our partners at CoolBet. And I think it's fun to take something like that for a little bit of a ride. Why not?
Okay.
A little bit of a sprinkle.
Sure.
That way, if the Oilers get there and then the Leafs get there, you're making money off the Leafs getting there, right? Like you're sitting there going, let's say you bet $10 on it. If you got it when it was at 40 to 1, you're winning $400 for the Leafs getting the Stanley Cup Final. Mm-hmm. You take that and you pay for all your partying because you're an Oilers fan, and they're two in the Stanley Cup Final. I think there's a lot of ways to go about it.
That's a good breakdown, actually.
Kevin says, just think, the 2012 Oilers, Bo Akey probably makes the team. It's so good to see proper development now.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's not even a crazy take.
It's a great point. It's very true, and it's night and day when you talk about the process and the depth and how this organization on the hockey side has really figured it out. At this point, it's not perfect by any means, trust me, but there's a true development cycle, and in 2012 they didn't have that. It was 31st overall. Let's see if David Musil can be a pillar on the back end.
That was a lot different back then, wasn't it?
He cannot. Yes,
that is not going to work.
Yeah,
he was a pillar, all right.
Yes,
one that they could skate around rather easily. VR Montenegro. I gotta work on this guy's name. Montenegro.
Yeah, great name.
Montenegro, yeah.
There you go.
I was 35 to 1 last night when he got it. So that line's moving again.
Climbing.
So that's good. Hey, guys, how did Hamblin play? I didn't get to watch the game. Good local guy.
Yeah, feisty. He knows what he has to do. I think he threw a few hits, and that line had a couple of moments where it was like, okay, you've got a veteran in Gazzola, spent pretty much all of his career in the NHL. Last year was his first taste of the AHL. Hamblin, who got his first taste of the NHL, but has mostly had to work his way up, never really had the benefit of the doubt. Those guys are hungry. They want to be part of the group that's, we heard Ken Holland talk about it's going to take 15 or 16 forwards, 9 to 10 defensemen. Those two want to be in that mix, and I think Gazzola probably has the inside edge right now. And so they need to continue to perform like that as the competition gets tougher. Schauger was sitting with me, and he's like, boy, that's a small line. But I honestly didn't think that it was a detriment because they know what they lack physically, and they make up for it with, a little bit of sandpaper. And last night I thought was a good example of that.
You would not have to sit down Hamblin and go, hey, man, this is who you are.
No.
This is what you need to do. I think it's probably really nice for coaches. I think coaches probably love these types of players where they know who they are and how they are going to be successful, because for a lot of those guys, that's the only way they've been able to be successful their entire hockey careers. You'll have a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but you have some guys who find different ways to be successful because of their natural, God-given ability. They can but if you're Hamblin and you've grinded it out the way that you've grinded it out so far, that's just honest. He's just honest guy, right?
Absolutely.
Which I think is pretty big. Yeah. Pretty big. As always, the Oil Stream brought to you in part by our great partners at Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. We are here in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studios at Edmonton Sports Talk. Popeyes right now, they have launched their sweet and spicy wings. This happened earlier in the month of September. Sweet and spicy wings, crispy breaded wings with spicy ghost pepper seasoning, tossed on sweet chili sauce as well. They come in 6-piece, 12-piece configurations. So while you're settling in and diving into some Oil Stream, make sure you pick up that Popeyes along the way as well. Hey guys, is Jake Chiasson going to be down to Bakersfield, or will he get released for another year in junior with the Saskatoon Blades?
Those guys were skating today as part of like a third group.
Third group?
And they're basically waiting to go down to Bakersfield when camp opens up there. And it sounds like the Bakersfield guys, so they're not even being included in the first or second group.
There's just some Baco guys who are skating.
They're labeled AHL guys, and they go down Friday, from what I'm told. So I suppose they would have to have that discussion with the Blades to see if they want to bring him back or they try to trade him in his 20-year-old
spot
year.
they're in, right?
Yeah, and then, or if they feel he's ready to play pro games. And like, would you want him? Where would you put him? Do you have a spot for him in Bakersfield already where he can develop properly, or can you squeeze in one more year of junior? I'm not sure where that's at right now, but I do know that group they're a third group basically waiting to just go down to Bakersfield.
So last year, split between Brandon and Saskatoon, he had 58 points, 20 goals in 70 games. Like, to me, there's an opportunity there to still kind of become a pretty elite junior producer, right? If that's the way you wanted to approach it. 20 goals last year in 70 games. I mean, what if he goes down there and has 75, 80 points and 30 goals, right? Then you kind of view him a little bit different coming out as well. D. White is in this. His thoughts on the lack of size on our fourth line. Who's going to go out there crashing and banging when we need that?
Day one of regular season, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think they're talking about anything. Like the overall, the bottom six in general, not a lot of crash and bang in that group.
No, there isn't. That's a very, very fair point.
That's the area where I see it as a weakness. Like, those guys, they're good. They're good hockey players.
Yeah.
But that's not a bottom six line or bottom six group that is difficult to play against in any way.
They're not going to punish offense or in the offensive zone, get hard on the D-man. No. This is where an Adam Ernie might have an advantage or see an opportunity to slide in there. If he could do that, that starts tonight for him. But you're right. It's a very smooth fourth line as of today that doesn't have a lot of jam to it. Do you need a lot of jam? I like when there's jam
I
on
think,
the fourth line, personally.
You need some sort of jam.
I think you need some options where some big body guys play like a-holes.
Like, where does the jam even come from there? Fogle has to create more of it?
Yeah, he did in the playoffs. Yesterday he didn't really. He was more on the...
Yeah, but he's not going to become Costin all of a sudden, right? Like,
no, that's true. Although Costin would get benched for periods of time.
That's a good point.
Get healthy scratch. But when he was on, look out. The problem was he didn't have the trust of the coaching staff, and then there were some nights where you're like, where's Klim? What's he doing today? Nothing. And I don't want to knock him because I liked him. I thought he was great when he was on.
Kevin says Ernie and Lavoie have to try to be that guy, but...
Let's see if Lavoie does that tonight a little bit. He's a big guy.
Yeah, but is that his game?
I would assume and think that he feels like he can bring offensive punch ahead of being a mucker and a grinder and playing like a jerk out there.
It's just not his game.
Right?
That's just not. Now, maybe he sees an opportunity and goes, holy smokes. My only way on this team right now is to be something in the bottom six that they don't already have.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and crashes and bangs.
If
you were to look at every report ever, never does it mention, impacts the game physically in any way, shape, or form. And he's 6'4", almost 200 pounds.
He's a big guy.
So he's a big guy who could certainly do it. That'll be interesting to see where that goes. Shane is in. We'll take a couple more questions and we'll do one quick break here on this episode of the Oil Stream, and then come back with more thoughts and comments. And obviously, we got one really long email or a message in the inbox today at 780-218-9999. We'll dive into that here as well. But Shane's wondering, what do you think of Broberg's game, Tommy?
For the most part, it was smooth. There was one giveaway he had in his own zone where, like, oh, what was that, Phillip? It was interesting seeing him paired up with Desharnais and him playing the left side, because when Ekholm comes back, he's going to have to flip over to the right side. And the fact that those two are basically competing for one spot in the starting six on the back end, depending if they do 11-7. But it sounds like there's more of a expectation that they're going to lean towards 12-6 this year. I thought he was okay. I'd like to see him transporting the puck himself and, maybe just dipping his toes in the water a little bit yesterday. But overall, I thought he was fine. we'll see what he's like. It was interesting. He went off the ice early today, and Keith Gretzky was kind of walking with him. I don't know if he was telling him, you're going to fly to Winnipeg tonight. I don't think that's the case.
Like a last second sort of go play in Winnipeg.
Yeah, but Schauger did ask Jay about Philip Broberg if everything was good, and he said, yeah, no, there's no issue. But we'll see if he ends up flying. But I thought he was okay. If he continues to improve his game and make more of an impact as the preseason progresses, then I would feel good about him. And Vinny Desharnais is not going to do anything it's going to be a dogfight for that 6th spot. And neither guy wants to be the 7th defenseman. Desharnais, I think, is pretty honest about his game. You're not going to see anything too crazy from him in the preseason. And I thought he was steady as well last night.
All right, let's take one quick break. We will be back. If you have any questions, hammer them into the YouTube chat right now or text us 780-218-9999. This is one of the nice things that we think we can do that other people wouldn't be able to do, and that's to just basically give you 55 minutes of content in an hour with one quick little break. So don't go anywhere. Hit us up right now with some of those messages at 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, hammer that thumbs up button. All right, Let's hammer that like. Let's get that going. Let's crank that up a notch so more people can come and join us on the Oil Stream.
The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week 1, and then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly, and I try not to make these so definitive takes. Things can change very, very quickly, or maybe they have, and we just haven't seen it yet.
The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for The Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielson Show with Dustin Nielson and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielson and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey, Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch, Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast, located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
All right, welcome back to the Oil Stream, everyone. Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you. As always, the Oil Stream is brought to you in part by our great partners over at Boston Pizza. You can order in, eat out, go to Boston Pizza, chill in the lounge, take the family. The kids love the Boston Pizza. It's just as simple
Kids
as that.
eat free this month, don't they?
I saw something popping up there. Yeah, that looked absolutely great.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we'll be back in a Boston Pizza on location here with the Oil Stream at some point in October. That would be great. You can come
Are we
join.
foregoing September?
I was waiting to hear back on a date.
Oh, okay.
Haven't heard back on a date yet.
All right.
So we were ready to roll, but they're very busy over there as they get ready for the season at Boston Pizza. But we will have live on location in October for sure. 780-218-9999. October's this weekend, Tommy?
That's crazy. I'm in on the Nielson show on Friday.
Friday.
Right? Yeah,
Friday,
you're
I'll
away.
be in. Where am I going this weekend? I'm going to Vancouver.
Right.
Thursday night.
Yeah, so that'll be an early
So
one. Looking forward to
we'll
working
do
with her.
Oil Stream because you'll be at the rink or at home for Oil Stream on Friday. I think
we have to look at this. This week feels like there's a lot happening.
Well, it's just getting started.
It's just getting started. Yeah.
Just getting started. But
Yes.
yeah, Oil Stream. I will be in Vancouver. The good news is that the internet in Vancouver is awesome at the hotel there. So we should be be good on that front. Darren says, yes, it's all month, and it is great. Of course, it's great. Kids eat free at Boston Pizza. Are you kidding me? How do they even get away with this? It's amazing stuff. All right, let's get to this. This came in. This is a long one from Mike. Says, this is an Oilers show. Tardy Tom. Tom. How about that for a hand? Good afternoon, guys. Big Oilers fan from Hamilton, Ontario. I'd like to share my thoughts on the Vegas loss. Okay, so we're dialing it back to the playoffs here.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of talk of games 5 and 6, and I agree with the comments, but I said before the series started to my work colleagues, the Oilers would lose games 1 and 3. My reason, long stay in LA and Vegas before game 1 kind of like a road trip game. And then game 3, first time home in a few weeks, the players would naturally be excited. Kids don't understand. They want their dads, wives, girlfriends, etc., dogs, whatever, want attention.
Jack.
Guys feel guilty for being away and do more than rest, sleep, and prepare for game 3. So who's to blame? The coach? The team for not earning that 1 extra point for home ice? Did either learn? What are your thoughts? That's in from Mike. Wow. He wants to know if they will approach the playoffs differently, I guess, this season.
They had a lead in every one of those games. Mike did a deep dive. I understand being around your family, but I think in general, the families know that playoff time, you let daddy take care of business, I would think.
Well, maybe, but kids are kids,
The
man.
kids are kids. They're going to want to hang out with dad.
When they don't see their dad for, a week, no matter what he's got on the go, and you want to give time to your kids.
But they were in those games. They were in every one of those games. I don't know. I don't know if we're maybe digging in too much.
Probably. But this is what we do all the time about every single topic when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, right?
They did stay over in LA and then made their way over to Vegas. Vegas was rolling, coming off that first round win. I don't know. I think that with how competitive they were in that series, those mental lapses that they had, and they got exposed in game 1, was it Desharnais had a tough go, and then we saw them take stupid penalties in game 5, and that 3-minute sequence in the second period was basically the downfall in that game after they were holding a 2-1 lead, playing a pretty good road game, and then they let it slip away in game 6. I think Vegas, I still go back to this, when Vegas swung that second period in game 5, that's when they knew they had the Oilers. In Vegas's mind, collectively, I think that's when it clicked for them, and they knew that they had that series, and that's when the Oilers lost the series. Otherwise, I thought it was a toss-up, regardless of where the Oilers stayed, how long they stayed in L.A. and then went to Vegas, and maybe they had to put in a little extra daddy time when they got back. I think just those small moments in each game, especially the ones that they lost, were their detriment. Now, do I think that, staying over and then having to deal with their kids factored in there? I don't think so. Unlikely. And I don't think it really would have changed much.
Look, we've been saying the same thing about having to come home after being gone for a long time. If Laurent Brossoit wouldn't have got hurt.
That's another
If
good
Laurent
point,
Brossoit doesn't get hurt, and if Vegas decides to stay with him, which I feel like they probably would have gone away from him anyway.
What if they played quick?
Yeah.
Right? Like, Who knew Aiden Hill would just go on a tear?
Nobody.
Exactly.
That's the correct answer. The answer is nobody, not even Aiden Hill. Even Aiden Hill
Probably not.
has to look back at the playoffs and go, how the hell did I do that?
Didn't see
Right?
that coming.
Because
Right.
nobody did.
Right.
Not the Vegas coaches, nobody.
No.
I mean, it was an injury that ended up leading to Vegas basically finding this red-hot goaltender that ended up changing things for everybody moving forward. So 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. And we'll get to a few more. This is if you get the kids card for $5, kids eat cheap after September 2. My goodness. I like that. That same texter was in and said, did Bo Akey play himself into being this year's Reed Schaefer? I'm not even 100% sure what that
Like,
means.
as in
Unless
he's
it's,
going to get it. He's going to be a trade piece?
or unless you're like, look what he did. Could he be a trade piece? I think that's got to be what it is. Or unless you just look at it and go, there's a pretty
That's
good
from
hype
Mike.
around Schaefer and, there's pretty good hype around Bo Akey. Like,
It's a great question by Mike. I like Mike's deep diving. I like
he is
that.
deep
I
diving. This is
appreciate
good
that.
stuff,
Thank you,
Mike.
I think with Akey, how many right shot defensive prospects do they have legitimately? This guy could, I think he's making himself into a blue chipper if we didn't think so before. And I think he's solidifying that. He's only going to build up his rapport and legacy with A, the fan base, more importantly, B, his potential future teammates and the management team and coaches. I think they'd want to hang on to him. More so, I think with Reed Schaefer being a forward, I think they're more willing to part ways because they have a couple of guys that are kind of getting towards being on the cusp, Lavoie being one of them. And then, Borgo, we'll see where he goes from here. You got Savoy and Tullio. They're kind of working their way up, too, through the organizational ranks. But with Akey, they really don't have. He could be their right behind Evan Bouchard in like 4 or 5 years, their second best right shot D-man. He could be.
There's not a lot standing in between that, considering
like is Vinny
CC will be gone.
CC will be gone.
Desharnais is probably who he is.
Yes.
Right shot D-man on the third pair. So, there could be a window there in 3 years where Bo Akey slides in. Now, Mike did confirm that he was saying, like, as a trade piece.
Yeah, and that's the sense I got. I think they'd want to be more inclined to keep him and develop him and say, hey, this will be our second pairing right shot D-man a few years down the road. He'll probably have to work his way up, but if he keeps developing the way he's going now, that might be faster than we think. But again, this was so early, so fresh, and he's so young.
The only aspect of it that's different, I guess, would be like Schaefer was something they didn't have either.
A big guy that's
exactly.
can
We're
score and plays like a jerk.
What are we just sitting here talking about? We're talking about
fourth
bottom
line
six
just-
with like not very much sandpaper at all.
Yeah, but
Right? So Schaefer could have fit the bill as like a third line guy who sort of pisses people off.
Right.
And they didn't have a lot of those in the system, and they managed to move him just because other teams wanted him and they were willing to pay the price because they needed a huge piece, right? So
yeah, I think they'd be more inclined to keep Akey though. That's what I feel.
yeah.
Right? Like
I don't know. Their organization doesn't have a Schaefer in it either, I guess is what I'm saying.
but is it easier to find a Schaefer than it is to find a skilled right shot D-man that might be able to jump into the lineup in a few years?
Well, they have a skilled right shot D-man already in Bouchard. But I know you're thinking like down the road who slides in there behind him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the reason Schaefer was so intriguing is that there's not many guys like him in the NHL, right? So he's like, they got a little bit of that unicorn vibe to him.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Tanner Janot.
Yeah, that type of thing. And look at
Look
the value that these guys are worth, right?
I know.
Really interesting question, Mike.
That is that
really really interesting question. Curtis is asking, is Akey a lock for the World Junior team? I don't think you can say a lock.
I don't know.
No, yeah, we've not dove into that deep enough, but I don't know if I could he make the team? Sure, but a lock, I don't think we're in the position where I have to ask Guy Flaming. I'll have to text Guy Flaming. Guy might have a little bit of a better read on this front.
Mm-hmm.
In the YouTube chat, you can hit us up. Or on the text line, 780-218-9999. The Oil Stream is brought to you in part by Boston Pizza, Popeyes, And a cool bet, Christian in the YouTube chat says, I'm going to the game tonight. That's Christian in Winnipeg. Kevin asks, when does your pre- and post-game shows start? We had a meeting about this last Wednesday. We were looking at doing 2 pre-game shows.
Yeah.
Like two preseason games.
Yes.
Ones that you could watch and then join
Then we
Tommy
can
for the
discuss.
pre and post.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
easier to discuss if everybody can watch it, right? So
I think we're looking for
I
sure
had the
in
dates on
early
these
October.
somewhere.
There's a couple games that are on TV that everyone can chime in on, and they're not hidden behind like Oilers Plus.
I thought we had one like on Wednesday. Though.
I know maybe Wednesday we'll have.
I think
to
we
talk
had
to
September
Iwanek.
27th on that list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to talk to Iwanek because he kind of determines that, but it could be as soon as this Wednesday. So
Yeah.
I'm ready to go whenever. Again, I need to get my home studio finished.
You're all right, buddy.
Damn.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about it, man.
I know.
It's gonna be just fine. And yeah, you'll be on for an hour pregame.
Our pregame, and then I think we'll probably keep it neat and tidy postgame too. I mean, we
Like
don't
an
have
hour?
to- it's just an hour, so
Yeah.
we'll just get.
I don't know, man. I feel like if the texts get rolling in, the YouTube chat gets going,
Well,
I can see you
know.
being like, well, let's keep rolling tonight, depending on the game, right? Depending
can
on the
do
game
that.
and the way it goes. Right?
And
So-
we can do that. And the added element of the on camera with the pre and post game makes it interesting as well. So I think it could be as early as Wednesday, but I think it's going to be for sure those later games. I think there's one against Vancouver, and is there another one against Winnipeg? I have to double check the schedule, but yeah, we were talking maybe we go this week. We'll see.
Hey, boys, is this Sutter's job to lose, as he is the exact type of fourth-line center that they need?
Correct on he's the exact type of fourth line center that they need if he's the guy that we saw play for the Canucks and the Canes in years past, but it is not his job to
You
lose.
can't say that a guy who hasn't played hockey in how long?
2 years.
If that's his job to lose, then as an organization, you haven't done the job to bring in better options.
Yes.
And I think that's why right now he's fighting for the job
Yes.
because they have brought in other options as opposed to just getting the job.
Yeah, exactly. So not his job to lose, but if he is that guy, that's exactly what you need.
All right, so they play again tonight in Winnipeg. This will be the lineup that they'll be looking at against the Winnipeg Jets. Malone between Raphael Lavoie and Adam Ernie. McKegg with Griffith and Holloway. Stonehouse, Bourgault, and Grubin. Then Berglund, Tullio, and Petrov. What do you expect from Petrov?
I don't know. I want to see him score. I want to see him handle the puck. He's a big boy. He's smooth. I want to see him maybe bust towards the net with the puck on his stick and roof one short side because he seems like the hands that he's got and the offensive vision that he possesses and then the skill to back it up. It's tantalizing, but can he put it together against what is going to be a pretty good Winnipeg Jets lineup tonight? I don't know. I want to be wowed by Matvei Petrov, and I know they do, the Oilers, they being them, the Edmonton Oilers, want to see that too, but can he pull it off? This is the big test. He's going into his first year of pro hockey, and, what is he? I don't know.
But I don't think there's anything you could do or he could not be able to do to come out of camp as a disappointment, right? Like he's just becoming a pro.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we have to keep that in mind.
Like there should just be upside for him.
Yeah.
Really, right? Like
Show some flashes. Show some confidence playing against NHL veterans. Show that you feel like you belong.
show some confidence with the puck.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what this guy's going to need.
Yeah.
If he's going to play at the next level, he's going to have to be a guy who's confident with the puck. Show a little bit of confidence with the puck tonight.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. Successful preseason.
Did you want to go over the Jets lineup because this is
Sure. Yeah. Let's
this is uneven.
let's hear is it one of those nights?
It's going to be
Well,
heavily
good
favored.
test for these guys. Let's see. What do
Absolutely.
we got?
Scheifele between Connor and Velarde. Kupari between Barron and Nemesnikov. Gustafsson with Ford and Viel. Lucius with Torgerson and Reichel.
Watch Lucius. He's an interesting one.
Yeah, he is. Morrissey paired up with Salomonson. Sandberg with Pionk. Logan Stanley with Kyle Capobianco. Sautner and Stewart are a fourth pair. I don't know, so we'll see which.
See who they run
Yeah,
with.
and then Brossois gets the start. D. Vincentis is the backup.
Say Brossois gets a start.
Yep.
The very same Brossois whose injury basically eliminated the Edmonton
Isn't
Oilers.
that crazy?
From the postseason.
That is crazy.
It's all come full circle tonight, preseason, game 2 in Winnipeg. Mark M is in it. Says, guys, what are your thoughts on Oilers Plus? I think he just means Oilers Plus in general. Interesting question.
You want to crack?
Well, I mean, I'll say this. You know, I have an account. I think for me as a member of the media, meh. Mm-hmm. For fans who are hardcores, like if you would have told me I'd have some of the access that they have on Oilers Plus when I was a diehard Montreal Canadiens fan, when I was 16 years old in 1997, I would have just eaten that up. Now,
good point.
From a National Hockey League perspective, I don't care about any team anywhere enough to, to just be like, oh my God, this content is just amazing. Like, so I could see, the better question is what you fans think of Oilers Plus, because I find it as a useful work tool at times.
Yes, for pre and post game for us, it's vital.
I think
post game.
I think that's important. But overall, I mean, I don't know if I can really give it a grade to a bunch of fans who are listening or watching right now, just because I don't know how you view the access.
Yeah,
I guess
it is. It's a sign, or it's a precursor to where things are going, for sure.
Yeah.
We saw the Penguins. I think the Bruins and a couple other teams are starting to bring their broadcasts in-house. I know the Oilers have a deal with Sportsnet that remains. It's very expensive to broadcast games and get all the equipment and the trucks in. But I think that this is their first foray into seeing how to build that up. It's a small crew that's doing it. They work really hard. I compliment them and give them a lot of props for putting together what they are.
Because that's all in-house stuff, right?
It's all in-house. I worked with a bunch of them when I was at Oilers TV. They're doing everything they can to make it good and make it worthwhile. But
when you say small crew, just like, what are we thinking? Like,
you've got 4 camera guys that also work as producers. You've got Tony and Paige as the hosts and reporters. And then you've got Mooner that helps out Bob Jack chip in here and there. And then I think they have 1 full-time editor as well. So we're talking about a crew of maybe 9 or 10. And that's hard to be trying to pump out all these things. You're trying to do a behind-the-scenes thing. You're trying to do live shows. You're trying to do regular content that's available to everybody.
It's
on the
a full-time
website.
Gig in itself.
Absolutely.
For all those people, it should be.
They've
right?
taken on a lot, and those people work their butts off to make it as good as that they possibly can. And again, the subscription stuff is the way of the future. It is now, and the Oilers just tried to get ahead of it, and we'll see where this goes. But I think they bust their butt to make it as good as possible. Is it perfect? No. Is anything going to be perfect? No. Are we perfect? No, absolutely not. But they're doing everything they can, and I think, again, we could, and there's been rumblings that the Oilers are going to bring things in-house eventually. We'll see where that goes. That's up to Sportsnet and the Oilers to hammer out their broadcast deals.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see how all that plays out. But, it's not – this is just how it's going for all teams.
Streaming
services. It's just how it is. I mean, it's still nice to have the radio deal for play-by-play for people in their car can listen.
Sure.
Right, but outside of that, I mean, we're examples of it. Not even necessarily. You don't need radio to create great content and get it out to people.
Yep.
100%. It's not necessary.
No.
Play-by-play is a little bit of a different story for people in their cars who want to listen to the game, right? So,
but even still, like with streaming services that we are soon to be a part of, you can get that. And it's clear, and it comes in via the digital signal as opposed to being transmitted by an actual tower.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's going that way. And I think the Kings started doing that a couple of years ago. Baseball, we've seen it happen. I'm not sure if there's a couple of basketball teams that I've seen that have gone that route. That's where it's going. That's why we did this instead of going to a standard AM, FM dial.
Tube Sock says, I thought there'd be more nudity with a subscription service. Chaz says, I love the behind-the-scenes stuff, so I really enjoy it. Kevin says, Oilers Plus is definitely worth the $60 a year. And when you think about it, yeah, like, for example, Dave 0904 on YouTube says, people complaining about the cost of Oilers Plus in the same breath will spend money on Rogers Place beers.
Yeah,
you know, like
$16 a pop or whatever.
Have 4 less beers during the season.
Yeah.
And get Oilers Plus.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at how you want to go.
Yeah.
Guys, I think the Oilers Plus is well worth it considering how limited the pre and post game is on Sportsnet. That's one thing that frustrates me as a guy who
even a pre and
it's not
post.
even a thing. They cut to Gino. Gino does a quick bit and
they do
that's
it out of Toronto. It's so
Yeah.
disconnected, and God bless them because I love a lot of the Sportsnet people, but they're not here.
Yeah.
The people that they use, and they're trying to tell you about a team that they don't go and see every day. They're not in the room. They're not talking to management. They're not. So how do you really resonate when you're only observing from literally that
Yeah, with that
distance?
being said, it's not on those people.
No,
like they
because
just have a
that's the-
job to do. That's just
the
the way
parameters that have been set for
that's
them.
the way the landscape
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah,
And it makes it a little bit more difficult.
absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah, I like that pre and post game point. It would be like how awesome
That's
would
why
it
you
be if
watch
they
and
rolled
listen
to
to us.
Gino for 30 minutes
Yeah.
and Gino banged out a 30-minute pregame with Stoff on there and Spec or whoever, however they wanted to go about it. Like a Jack mixed in. I mean,
whatever.
that would be I think that would be much better. If they were to take something in-house, then you'd probably have like an hour-long pregame leading up to it.
Or
Like,
you just watch and listen to the pre and post game on Edmonton Sports Talk.
it's
because
good. It's good news for us
I'm biased.
because
It's my show, baby.
yeah, I mean, Tommy's gonna have the pre and post game, and basically, if you're online, you come to us. If you're into the radio, you go to Ched,
Or you plug in
that's what you got.
or tether your phone, or when we get on streaming services, you just go there and you can listen to us as well.
Right now, you can just go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com, click listen live, and
Works like a charm.
good to go right there as well.
Couple of housekeeping things
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up. The Oilers with the Play Alberta decals. I know they're not a partner of ours or anything like that, so we're not trying to plug them or slight cool bet. But that was interesting. I caught that yesterday. So
You can barely tell.
Yeah,
It's just
they're
white on blue, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a big deal. And the Skip the Dishes one is orange on the white helmet. The other thing is I was told that the alternate navies will be worn this year for the last season. This will be the last year they wear the
Okay,
alternate.
so how many times are we talking?
I wasn't told how many times because the Heritage Classic jerseys I think are going to be unveiled right away here. I was told somewhere around the 26th. We're at the 25th of September here. Those are going to be worn a few times on top of the Heritage Classic itself. But yeah, the Navy alternates will remain for one more year. And no, not the reverse retros.
Not the reverse retros.
Not the reverse retros. From
Okay.
what I understand.
Best jersey insider in the biz right here, buddy.
They
I loved when you noticed like the helmets. I was just like, Tommy is on it. Tommy is on his game today.
I pick up on that stuff. I don't know. I'm a dork for it.
You do pick up on that stuff.
It is. So that's just some housekeeping stuff there. And people were asking when I put out that tweet about the helmet decal, any jersey ads for the Oilers. As far as I know, no. And I think if they were to roll out jersey ads, they would have done it already.
Well, I guess this is where I tell you that Edmonton Sports Talk has signed a deal to be on the shoulder patch of the Edmonton Oilers at home.
Oh, snap. Do we pay for that? Because do we have the budget?
No, I just keep texting them and be like, hey, do you want to contra this? Can we do some contra on this?
Could you imagine our faces on
I
the
would.
jerseys?
Oh God,
Yeah.
that would be absolutely amazing. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, not gonna
a little bit pricey. Can I tell one quick story?
Of course you can.
When they had the Farewell Rexall jersey patch, they wanted to get the Rexall logo on the Coliseum. The outline of the Coliseum. The league said no.
Really?
Yeah. They had to get
Wow.
rid of that.
Jeez.
Right?
Real buzzkill, eh? Real buzzkill.
No ads on jerseys. And then 5 years later, ads on jerseys. Hey, and on the helmets.
What are the odds of that? Hey,
Yeah.
what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Oil Stream. We'll be back on Wednesday. What's their schedule on Wednesday? Skating Wednesday, obviously.
Yeah,
like a game
skating.
Wednesday.
It's a game day.
Yeah,
So
game
Wednesday's
day.
going to be busy.
Wednesday will be a busy day. We will get you locked in with the oil stream as well. Watch for details on when we are going to launch the pre and post game show as well. Tell your friends about the oil stream. Thank you very much for watching all of our Edmonton Sports Talk content again today as we kick off a Monday. We'll be back tomorrow morning on the Nielsen show. Dean Faithful in the studio.
How awesome was it to have Gavin Cobb and Trey Ford?
They were
in
great.
studio?
We could do a podcast with Ford and Cobb.
Just like
if those guys want to do a
podcast,
just the two of them, just to do a straight up pod.
That's awesome.
That would be pretty sweet. I think they could do that.
More connection and tie-in with the Elks. I think that would be great as they pick up momentum as the season closes. I think legitimate momentum. I know the loss on Friday was tough, but BC was ready for them. But that was so cool to see. Thank you to Hernan and Evan Dom for making that happen. And Dean Faithful tomorrow. Will he start like this?
Well, I know we will. I might actually have a kettle here, and he can show us how he does his tea.
That's amazing.
How cool would that be?
That's a great
Are
idea.
you having honey? What are you doing with your tea?
My tea.
We'll see how that goes. Tommy, get us out of here, buddy.
All right. Like, share, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. Always a pleasure. It's a big week, and we're just getting started. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday.
The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week one. And then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly. And I try not to make these so definitive takes. Things can change very, very quickly, or maybe they have and we just haven't seen it.